Hey everybody, we are live coming at you for the grand finals of CPL Season 2. This is PiSan. I am joined by co-caster and co-admin Laser Snipe. How's it going, man?
Not too bad. I'm excited here, getting ready for the wrap up the grand finals here, CPL season two.
Yeah, it's been a really awesome, 3 months, I suppose.
Yeah,
Just fantastic levels of commitment and really, really good games. Just absolutely blown away by the support from all the players and the coaches and the admins. Just this has been a great season, guys. Really appreciate it. Looking forward to season three. If it's going to be anything even half as good as season two, it's going to be a success. But don't want to get ahead of ourselves too much. We still got a grand finals here to go, and we've got Team Chobos with Attitude versus Team Beast coming up here. Two powerhouse teams.
yeah, this should be a good match. I mean, Chobos with attitude just dominated the league. 7-1 going into this. Like they were the team to beat. Team Beast started off really strong. Like I believe they met Chobos with attitude in week 5 and were undefeated until that point. They cooled off in the second half of the league, but managed to hold their own throughout playoffs and make it here to the grand finals today.
Yeah, absolutely. We are going to be trying to cast some of these games live today. Just going to mix it up a little bit, get that extra hype in. We'll see if we run into any snags there, but hopefully we'll be good. I noticed Chobos are mostly in Europe, but I don't expect there to be too much lag. We'll work around any technical difficulties we might encounter, but really psyched to try to get some live games for you guys. But before we get into that, we are a little bit early in terms of the matches starting. Just wanted to, to take a moment and really say thank you to Laser Snipe. You have really helped out this season, and I mean you took over last season too. You ended up running the league together with Jealous, but this season, it wouldn't have happened and it wouldn't have been such a success without you. So I wanted to say thank you, man. You made CPL possible. I really appreciate all the hard work you put in, every week.
Cool, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Like, no, I'm glad you brought CPL back. Honestly, like, there was a big downtime between season one and season two, and people were unsure: is there going to be a season two? What's happening? And then you took the initiative and went forward with it, and was like, "Hey, let's do this." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm on board. Let's do it." And yeah, we had a pretty good, successful season two, I would say.
I would say so for sure. And I'm hoping to do another season three without such a big time lag. We will have a little bit of downtime in between the seasons here just to give people some time to recoup. But there will be some events in that period, and we're going to do a lot of planning. But this is not going to be a year between season two and three this time. My dream is to have CPL just be an ongoing thing where it's always a place for new players and old players alike to come in and improve. Um, I also want to give a special shout out to Awardie, another co-admin who's done a ton of work on the Liquipedia page. So if you guys haven't seen that Liquipedia page, you absolutely should go over there. There is so much information about how season two went. I posted into the chat. There's a ton of statistics. We're going to be updating all the playoff information once this is done, but he's put a ton of work into that and it looks great. So thanks again to Awardie, the kind of behind the scenes admin who's done a lot of work for the league.
For sure. Like when he stepped up, he covered a lot of the holes that were missing. We didn't really have anyone to do any of the team or Liquipedia stuff. So like everything you see there was basically a wordy. So like you said, big shout outs to him. He put in a lot of work. On that note, I guess we should also give a big shout out to Connor
Oh yeah, he's
for
coming up
doing
on
all
my
the
list.
YouTube stuff. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean we can jump straight to him. Yeah, so we have the YouTube channel, which I'm sure you guys are familiar with. All of these casts, they happen on Twitch, but they'll eventually get purged, and we have so many casts we can't keep them all. But YouTube is a good repository for that, and the amount of work that Connor's put in to take every single one of our casts from our entire team of casters and upload them to the YouTube channel, splicing them up, making sure that it's each set of games and correctly labeled, like that is just a mountain of work. And he volunteered earlier on in the league when we got these casts going. Just really appreciate the work that he's put in and to make that possible. So if you guys are coming into the CPL a little bit late and you want to see some of the later games, that is possible on our YouTube thanks to Connor. So big shout out to him.
For sure.
And I guess with that, I do want to give a shout out to the rest of the casting crew. Snipe, had a bunch of casts with you, so appreciate it. But we've had a lot of casters step up for this season, and managed to cover every single game, which is just, I mean, that wasn't even part of my planning process as a possibility. I was expecting to do some featured games every week, but with the amount of people who poured into to volunteer their time and give you guys casts, we managed to cast every single game of this season. Just absolutely incredible. So big shout out to the Chess and Zoo team. Love those guys' stream. They've been fantastic the whole season. You yourself, Snipe, Shoop, Gorgonoth, Evanoki, Kanzaki, Nina, Doc Holiday, and Elmaster. All of you guys have helped out a ton, and this season is all the better for the work that you guys have put in.
Yeah, yeah. I don't have much more to add on to that, but once again, thanks to everyone who's helped out with the league in any way whatsoever. Big shout out to all the casters. I've tuned into most casts and watched most of them, so good job. And I love all the casters. We have a good variety. It's really added some nice spice to the league, a little bit of variety. It's been a lot of fun.
And with that, I do want to move on to our little unofficial slash official awards ceremony here. CPL is a for fun league. We're not giving out any prizes here, but I do want to make mention and just make sure these people get the recognition that they deserve. And first up, we have to talk about, we have a team of coaches throughout the league that are just incredible guys. They're all very, very good at Brood War. They've all dedicated their time to making this a success. It doesn't happen without the coaches. Just a pupil league is a totally different thing. And so I want to give a shout out just in general to all the coaches. But one coach really, went above and beyond, and I want to give the most hardworking coach award to Endymion. He, like, I was trying to look through how much activity was on Discord, how much time people spent, how much advice was being given out, and Endymion just dwarfed everyone else, especially early on in the league. That guy was on all the time helping people out. And I really just got to make sure that he gets the recognition he deserves as putting so much of his time into helping his team out. And I think that was your team, Snipe.
Yeah, it was. I can definitely agree with you on that. Like early on, he put in a lot of work, especially with some of our B teamers. Like he made a couple videos and streamed it, just working on things like Zerg mechanics, just basic things to help out, especially the Zerg players, being a Zerg player himself. But the way he thinks about the game, the way he talks about the game, I found that really helpful. Like it was a kind of a way to view the game that I never really thought about before, and I think it definitely added to my own perspective on StarCraft in general, and I really appreciate him for it. That I even mentioned it like partway through the season, like thank you so much. Like you really gave me a different perspective, and it's really helped round my game out nicely. So big shout outs to Endy. Glad I had him as a coach.
Absolutely. I do want to give special mention. A couple coaches produced some really, really good materials, and all of them have helped out a ton. So, I'm not trying to diminish the efforts of any coach. But the Siri put a great post out on Team Liquid with all of the PvZ walls for all of the maps in the CPL League. So that was a great effort, which is going to be useful, even beyond the CPL. If anyone's doing PvZ on those maps, that resource now exists. And do want to give a quick shout out to Beast for making his public PvZ lesson available. We want to get more and more of that kind of material out there, not just for the specific teams and for a specific coaching session, but just that general knowledge of how StarCraft should be played. If we can get that information through this effort, all the better. So shout out to those two guys as well for doing something a little special for the community.
Yeah, definitely.
With that, I'm going to move on to the players here real quick. We are going to have 3 awards essentially for each of the races that we consider the player representing the most improved player for each of those, so Protoss, Terran, and Zerg. And first up, want to give the award for most improved Protoss this season to Crane from Team Beast. He came in as a B teamer, might have been a slightly high B teamer, but we absolutely saw a lot of improvement this season and promoted him to 8 team. I think well deserved, and I think he is going to be represented here today.
Yeah, that's true. He did put in a lot of work throughout the season. I've seen him asking a lot of the right questions, improving a lot with his game, and even just watching his games, I'm like, yeah, this guy's becoming become a pretty legit Protoss player. So I would definitely agree with you on that. Crane is definitely well improved.
So congrats to Crane, the most improved Protoss. We might ask him for some advice about how to get some of the lower level Protosses to improve in the way he did and see what he found helpful. And kudos to Team Beast. The most improved player can't happen in a vacuum. So all the coaches and players that helped Crane, kudos to all of you. Um, Next we have the most improved Terran. We're going to give that to Nablime, aka Not Lemon, from Scientology Vessel. I think sort of the same thing. He came in as a B teamer and he moved on to the A team. Definitely, showed some really strong improvement. And it was a lot of Terrans on that team, but I think he kind of stood out as someone who definitely upgraded his level.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well. Like, uh, much like Crane, I always saw him looking for games, looking to play. I sort of knew him a little bit before CPL started, just in another Discord, beginner league Discord tournament. He was always like looking for games in there, and I can just see, he always wants to put in the practice and the time, and it shows off. He's improved. By the end of the league, he was, winning some of his series, and yeah, he's become a pretty strong Terran player. Look out for him.
And then last but not least, most improved Zerg. We're going to give that to Chess Z, fellow caster here for the CPL from Team No One Cared That. Chess is one of those guys that I just encountered like looking through the Brood War streams. I see this guy playing and I was like, hey, this is a player that the CPL is designed for. Like this guy is psyched, he's active, he's got a great stream, but he just needs a little bit of advice and some coaching to take him to that next level. And he's really used that to the best of his ability and definitely leveled up this season.
Yeah, for sure. Siri gave him a lot of help and advice, I think. Siri speaks highly of his improvement. And he's overall just like a fun guy. He's like accepts things. Like he got styled on by one of my teammates, Jitter, in one of the games. I don't know if you remember, but he was all fun about it. Like the game he got mind controlled and Jitter killed him with Mutalisks. But yeah, he took it all in stride. He took it like a champ.
He's got the attitude of someone that
yes.
That's the attitude you need to succeed in this game. Like things are gonna happen. You're gonna get beat bad sometimes. And if you can look at those games with a healthy attitude, you're gonna just keep on improving for it. And you can see that in his results. He's definitely, if you look at games from week 1 to week 10, I mean, it's a different player.
For sure. So congratulations to Chessy, most improved Zerg.
All right, so that is our little mini awards ceremony here. We're definitely going to, if you have any feedback for that and for season 3, we'll be totally open to that. And I like the idea of giving people sort of recognition for the hard work, but I do want to give a shout out to all of the players who have played. I don't think there's a single player that you got more sniper peoples in here. I don't think there's a single player that didn't improve. So next year certainly, or I guess next season certainly, you might be the one who's getting that special recognition if you just put in that little extra. So with that, we have a little bit before the deadline. We have one game that was played early, and I think we're just going to cast it to keep things on schedule. But the rest of the games, hopefully, we're going to cast as many live as possible so that we've just got the most hype that we can get going on this train. So the only series here that we have to do from rep is going to be Yogzototh versus Desmond Tutu. And I think I'm ready to get into it if you are.
Yeah, let's do it. This should be fun. It's a TVZ, a classic StarCraft match, so a good way to start off the cast here.
TVZ on Tau Cross, game number 1 for the grand finals, Chobos with Attitude versus Team Beast. Here we go.
All right.
And spawning here in the top right corner of Tau Cross, we have Yogzototh for Team Chobos with Attitude.
And here at the bottom, we have our blue Zerg from Team Beast, Desmond
Tutu. So I do know at the very end of the game there was a disconnect rather than a quit. So there's no bad manner going on when we don't see a GG. It's just an unfortunately timed internet outage. But I did review the game. The game was, in my eyes, over. So there's no real issue with the game being called there. It's just don't assume that there's any sort of BM going down when you see that.
All right, cool.
So right off the bat, Talcross TVZ, we've talked about this a whole bunch. This is a B team match here, but it's just the same for A team or B team. These games are tougher for Azure to get that third base, just because there's no real easy way to secure a ramp with lurkers. There's no ramps on this map, but there is. Oh, do I not have the music on? Let's fix that. Um, but then there's also the potential of the what's the word? Mutalisk being very, very active in the base. There's a lot of coverage for the natural and the main that is really tough for the Terran to cover. So it's kind of a wash in terms of who has a total advantage on the map.
Yeah, for sure. We'll have to see what Desmond wants to go for here. I do think he favors lurkers a bit more. Some of the TVZs, I think I even casted some of them with you. We saw him go for those lurkers rather than Mutalisks. We'll have to see if he chooses to do that again here. Is he going to try and abuse, like you were talking about the terrain, the big open area with his Mutalisks? What's he going to go for here?
Yeah, and we do have a fast expansion coming out from Desmond Tutu. This is a little bit risky on this map because of that tight choke. He does have a decent Overlord scout, so he sees the timing of the barracks. He's noticed it's not like an 8 racks, which will make things pretty more comfortable for him. But you still have to be careful because a supply block will block this off, and it can cause some issues for you. So that is something to always keep an eye on, especially with the second Overlord. You want to make sure drones are getting pulled immediately if you see that going down. And Neon Sword, I will definitely fix the audio next game. It looks like something's going weird, but I will probably have to restart StarCraft to get that going. So we'll fix that up.
Well, so as it looks now, Yogg is doing, pretty standard. He's opening up with his command center here, getting that fast expansion going. Desmond's well aware of this. He's got a drone just scouting around, seeing what's up, making sure there's nothing aggressive coming out. And his pool's about to finish, and as well as his natural hatchery, and he's putting down that third hatch now. So it's looking
Yeah,
pretty standard here from both players.
I like the active scouting out from Desmond. The drone sometimes gets to Terran base and immediately pulls back. Like you see the CC and you say, okay, I see he's fast expanding. I'm just gonna leave because you're kind of worried about that first Marine. But he goes all the way in. He checks for the gas, which is a tell for some sort of mech build. He sees that there's nothing really weird going on, and he still manages to get the drone out. So well timed and well aware scouting. I really like to see that from a Zerg player against a Terran.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's a good point. In general, you want to get as much scouting as you can without sacrificing too much. This game is all about, having that scout, knowing what your opponent's up to, and being able to react properly and counter what he's doing or do it better. So having a full scout just gives you that much more advantage, that much more like, okay, I know what I need to do to take advantage of my opponent or where his weak spots may be. So I
Yeah,
like it.
I absolutely agree. I think the gas timing was just a little bit delayed there. When I first looked at the gas, it was finished. The drones weren't on it, and that's just something to watch out for. Gas timing is basically tech timing for Zerg. Every second that you're not mining gas is a second your tech is delayed. So that is something you can absolutely look to tightening up as much as possible. We do have a very early bunker out from Yogg, and there's only 4 Zerglings on the map, so he's totally safe. Actually pressing out with a couple Marines, and I like those moves. You don't want to go too far, especially before medics, because if you get surrounded by a bunch of speedlings you weren't expecting, that can lose the game. But you definitely want to keep Zerg feeling under pressure. You want them to wonder, do I need to build a sunken? And we actually see Desmond already has a early sunken here. So those kind of pressure moves just cut into the Zerg economy and make their mid game and late game a lot less scary.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe a bit worried about those Marines coming out, throwing down that sunken. That's fine. We do see he is opting to go for that Hydralisk Den here.
Yeah, and it looks
So
like it's
as we
well
said, yeah,
timed.
lurkers.
Yeah, it's gonna finish just about with the lair, so this is definitely a lurker build rather than mutas. We talked about how strong mutas are on this map, but lurkers are a perfectly viable option. I don't see any detection out from Yogg yet. He does not have any scanners. He has no NG Bay. NG Bay coming down now, so this is sort of the appropriate time for versus mutas. But I'd really like to see that academy. Looks like he is instead taking very quickly into a factory. Oh no, I just got out of the academy here. It
Yeah.
is almost done.
I was gonna say the academy is almost done, so he's gonna have a couple of scans up before the lurkers are at his base,
A
or he
little bit of
should.
just saying a little bit of a skirmish out front, a couple of Marines and Zerglings getting traded, but nothing big. Kind of an interesting build out from Ya, going 2 racks into factory here. It's probably going to serve him pretty well against the lurkers, just because having the factory faster means that you have the option to go tanks, you have option for mines. Lurkers are very strong versus that 5 racks biomass, especially if you're not really, really good at splitting against those lurker spines, but mech units handle very, very well.
Definitely. Let's see. He is going up to the starport as well. He's putting a couple of turrets around the outside of his base here. I guess he's expecting mutas to fly in there. I don't really know about that turret placement just on the side of the wall there, but
Yeah, so we can see
uh,
he hasn't used a scan yet, so he hasn't
mm,
confirmed. Oh, he just used it. It looks like he hasn't confirmed the tech, and he's gonna miss the tech. So nicely played. Good location for that Hydra Den. Zergs can always hide their tech at that third hatch, but you never know where the Terran player is gonna scan. It worked out this time, so he's kind of blind on this situation here. Doesn't look like he used the second scan. I'm not sure where that was. Didn't catch that location,
yeah,
but he's not making any moves to prepare for Hydra, so I don't think he knows that the lurkers are on the way.
yeah, he could be in trouble. Like he doesn't have any scans ready yet, and he doesn't have any turrets out front, so the lurkers could get in and do quite a bit of damage. He probably will have 2 scans ready here by the time the lurkers get up onto his bunker. But he still could be in a lot of trouble here if he doesn't get like some turrets up. He's got them behind his minerals. It looks like he's just expecting mutas to come, but there are no mutas, right?
Yeah,
So
he's definitely expecting mutas. The one thing I want to see is even if you're expecting mutas, if you have your turrets up, you can push out with this M&M ball. Once the medics are created, you should have some presence on the map because at the very least that might make the mutas fight your M&M, which is kind of what you want. Um, and if it's lurkers, you can certainly keep them from getting on your base. As it is, he does finally have a turret out front. He'll have some detection, but it's completely undefended. That's going to go down very quickly. And his M&M being here in the choke means that he can't control his barracks locations. These
all
lurkers are just
right.
going to burrow no
Oh
problem.
no. Here we go. He is definitely aware of these lurkers now, but he's not repairing these bunkers. He doesn't have any medics with his armies, so he's going to take a lot of damage from
Oh,
this. Oh
there's a
no.
massive spine there. Yeah, he just lost a lot of M&M. He's in a really bad situation here. He does have mines, so this will actually be able to halt the advance a little bit. Lurkers do very poorly against mines, but you can sort of hop skip them, and the lurkers behind can take out the mines with their attacks while lurkers move forward. Yogg is actually going to lose his mineral line here. Desmond's going to run
Oh
straight
no.
up the left side, and this
Oh
base
no.
is forfeit. He's going to have to pull back to his main.
Yeah, this is looking really bad for Yogg now. He needed to like be aware that these lurkers were coming and have a second bunker and like a turret behind or something to detect. But right now, like Desmond's just running through this and destroying his main or
Yeah, he's
natural.
getting 2 lurkers dangerously close to that second mineral line as well. That is the only mining left. There is a turret, so there is vision of this, and there's only a single tank to really do damage to that. The vulture isn't going to kill that lurker anytime soon. That tank is now being chased away by Zerglings, and the turret is actually being targeted by the lurker, so that's about to go down.
Yeah, so even if Yogg holds this off, we can see Desmond here is taking his third base. It's about half done now. And he's not going to be under any pressure. Like Yogg's going to be in no position to try and deny this third, so he's going to be perfectly safe having that third, getting it up, start mining from it, and getting a really strong eco going while he's still denying Yogg here.
Yeah, and we have 3 lurkers now in the mineral line. So either all these SCVs are going to die, or they're going to have to just completely stop mining. Yogg does manage to pull them away, but he barely saves that many. I mean, he's got a total of looks like 10 SCVs, and some of them are really hurt. One more lurker spine will take those out. There is a science vessel out, so that means that he will be able to have permanent vision. But he's actually trapped his Marines in the bunker or the barracks location down here on the bottom right. So all he's really fighting with are these 2 tanks and Vulture. And Desmond has just been sending a stream of units to reinforce. Still hasn't been totally cleared out. Now moving the lurkers into range of the tanks. They are getting repaired, but some of those SCVs repairing are going down.
Yeah, Yogg's doing everything he can to kind of hold on here, and it looks like he is going to survive this attack for now. There are a few more lurkers morphing in his choke here, but he's taken so much damage. He's so far behind at this point. Like, Dez has his
Yep.
hive up. He's got his defiler mount just about finished. I don't know what Yogg can do, and he actually just disconnects, I
Yeah,
guess, right
so
there.
that is the disconnect timing. But I think that that game is officially over there. I mean, he has been mining. He has only uh, what is this now? It looks like 7 SCVs. There might be another SCV here in the Fog of War, but that's not enough. Where we have a Hive Tech Zerg who's about to go online on 3 base. I think that game is officially over, so it's unfortunate, you don't get that official GG, but I think it's pretty safe to call it here.
Yeah, so nice win there by Desmond, putting his team Beast up 1-0.